All right, here we are. This is Tina, and here I am with beautiful Nalini from Chalice of Wisdom. And this is very exciting. Brand new year, brand new energy, brand new things emerging and unfolding. Very exciting. And this is going to be the start of a series of conversations really to tap into what it is to be a joyful entrepreneur. And so I'm really excited to be here with you, and welcome, Nalini.
Hi, thank you. This is fun.
Yeah.
It's really fun. Yeah, I mean, we've both been not so joyful entrepreneurs here and there in our lives, and I'm sure that many of you have been as well. But there's a whole new energy emerging now that's absolutely in support of this, and so I think it's really, really cool that this is what you're doing, this is what you're launching. So I wanted to be here to support it.
Thank you. Yeah, we were chatting a little bit before we started recording, right? And I thought, I would just to see where is this going to go. And the fun thing with doing these videos always is like, well, we'll see where it goes when it happens, right? And yeah, I was really feeling into with the shifts and the changes just over the last few months. I've really felt a letting go of eons of baggage that may have been carried on and you're holding on that I didn't even realize was there, but that had really been in the way of me fully expressing myself in the most joyful ways. And the other day I was having a chat with one of my clients, and as we were talking about a few things that she could take on in her business and a shift in perspective, I said, oh, do you think it might be helpful to lighten up somewhat, you know? And she says to me, you have my permission that anytime that I'm uptight to tell me to lighten the fuck up. And I was like, okay. And the moment that she said it the next day, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a great book. And I realized, you know, with the Joyful Soul Business Method that unfolded at the end of last year, I realized that so many people are so serious about everything and forget to have fun in their life that it's almost like, my gosh, this whole statement of, you know, lighten the F up so that you can seriously enjoy your life and business is what I'm really passionate about. And I'd love to just explore this conversation topic with you. And what have you seen play out, and how is that unfolding in your book? Those things have been morphing so much.
Yeah. Well, everyone's shifting with the new cycle, you know, whatever you want to call it, whenever you think it started, none of that matters. But it's bringing us more into an appreciation of the sweetness of life. One of the things we see in the collective from a medical perspective, and I'm certainly not a doctor, you know, but there's so much of what they call it stage 2 or adult onset diabetes, right? And that has to do with the liver, the gallbladder, and it has to do with not being able to deal with or process or let in the sweetness of life. Because it has to do with bitterness and resentment that's just built up in the body since we're infants. And there's this odd thing, especially with people of developing consciousness, is that your consciousness, you know, we always say or have said in the last cycle, the physical body needs to catch up. And I think we owe our bodies an apology. They really know how to be these beings of light and joy. You know, we are, you know, to quote Richard Bach, the otters of the universe, and to play with these energies. And that doesn't mean being irresponsible. It doesn't mean being childish. All the things that the spiritual traditions of the world would sort of project onto that. Like, no. Responsible is able to respond and being responsible in the moment. So, you know, we see these things in the world happening where, why is that so prevalent? And yes, you know, people could eat better, but to blame it on something that mechanical would be to not understand the shift in the energies. That's what I do. That's where I live. That's what you do as well. It's like, if you want to change something, shift the energy. If you want to change something in your business, shift the energy first, then take the action steps that are needed. You know, you can't have one without the other. But yeah, what I'm seeing is just this big shift where that level of the carrot on the stick and the nose against the grindstone. I mean, poor nose, that's over essentially. That doesn't mean that things do not require work or do not require effort, and that there aren't challenges. Of course there are, and there's certainly many of them as all that old stuff flushes up in the world right now. That's what's happening. But it's also bringing in this joy. And it's, some of us have had this idea, I noticed this, that the joy comes in as this big torrent of light, and we have these moments and we dance around like an idiot, and then we go back to work. Right?
Yeah.
No, there's this thread, this flow, this current of joy that flows through everything. It comes from the infinite, from the divine. It flows through us. It flows through everything. Like the E. Cummings poem, right? It's the wonder that holds the stars apart. It really, this is what we need to tap into now. This is what's going to be functional going forward. So we need to bring back in that gentleness, that sweetness of the joy, that almost gentle delicacy that's like, this moves through in a different way, not the sledgehammer, not the domination and control, but the thing that wells up and flows through and just lifts the heart, into literally into the light, into lightening up. So that's my observation at the moment of what's needed. So I think it's brilliant what you started to do, joyful entrepreneur. It's like, yes, because in these energies, sort of the traditional edifice-laden path of business isn't going to function. I mean, will there still be Edify? Will there still be big corporations or big companies? Oh, sure, probably. But the way that for consciousness, the way consciousness moves is, well, the energy goes here, the energy goes there, this moves this way, this moves that way, and we have to be able to move with it right now. Like fish in the ocean or birds in the sky. We have to be able to flock or school together with the current, and then we will come together with one another. But it has to be this real ability to be flexible and move with the energies that are happening. So it's fun for me. This is just fun. It's like, yes.
Yeah, it's been so great. I realized the other day, wow, it's been, where are we now? 2017. So, wow, 9 years or so ago is when I first came into contact with you in this, right? Amazing, huh? And
first time was weird. Yes.
Yeah. And realizing, oh my gosh, that's been a lot of years of just very intense clearing and releasing and all the different processes and tools and everything. And then feeling the shift over the last few years, and then really feeling the shift at the beginning of this year into, a whole new way of playing. And I love how that feels like the tapping into that playing field of joy. And how what you've been creating is like the essence tuning. And as you were, I've been experiencing those for myself, and I really, really so enjoy them. And it just feels really nourishing, and really, it's the interesting thing I find at the moment as well is that one of the probably most challenging things to let go of, only because it's been habituated for so long, is part of that no pain, no gain game, and having to, you have to earn it. And so when things come easy, then there's almost these sabotage patterns kick in. So I've been noticing this in others. I'm still feeling there's little parts within me every now and again that kick in and are like, wanting to interfere. And it's just interesting. Then really relaxing into the essence tuning. It's like, it's like being in the ocean. For me,
it is very much. It's a really good analogy. Yes, like floating in the ocean, floating in the infinite sea, which we are all part of. We are all part of that. However you call divinity, that's what it is. Yeah, exactly. I know. Like right now, it's the old cycle was founded on martyrdom. It was all about the warrior's way and finding that middle way to be that peaceful warrior, or whatever you want to call it. It was about that. And personally, it's funny because that whole no pain, no gain, I mean, I embraced that just like everyone else did. I mean, right now, if there's one thing that we could lose out there is, could we lose the crush it hashtag? I mean, really, it's like, I'm going to crush this. You're like, why? I mean, I know what everybody thinks they mean by that. And thinks they mean is really important, because it's like you have to destroy something in order to create it. And yes, there are examples in nature, volcanoes being one of them. You know, the lava runs down the mountain, and anything that happens to be stupid enough to be in the way, you know, gets obliterated in the formation of new land, right?
Mm.
But it's a different energy. If you feel the energy of that beautiful liquid magma that is full of every single nutrient, not just the fire, it has every single elemental that's needed to create. We have that within us in the form of light.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's time to let that flow come through. And, you know, there's a fear out there that, well, because of the old cycle, you know, if we become gentle, if we become that fierce compassion, if we become, you know, less mother bear-like, then we'll be lost and we'll be victims and we'll be doormats and whatever, you know, whatever the local expression is. But that won't be so. That will not be so. It's having to let that through. If that flow from the heart doesn't come through, then you won't be successful. It's just bottom line. You know, whatever it is that you're working on so seriously won't be successful. There's no hope or prayer for that to work. Literally, I mean, you use those words literally, because Spirit isn't supporting that. Spirit is supporting what wells up through the heart as joy.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So that brings up a really interesting point, how so many have the old rule books and maybe they have given them a slight little update, you know, but there's still this thing, it's still that is part of, and I should meditate, I should, and whatever was on that should list. And then doing all the things. And what I find fascinating is like, so many of the external things that we may have reached out for to support us in the past. Mm-hmm. I find, like, even I was sharing with you before about the colors, you know, I love playing with the colors. It's really fun.
Really?
Yeah. And they have little messages and they talk, and they're very entertaining when they connect as well. We give very deep messages. But the interesting thing even there is like noticing, wow, it's like, because I've been traveling around, they've been in storage. So they come out and they go back in, and they come out and they go back in. And having these periods of not having them physically around just made me realize that, wow, you know, I don't actually need any of the external tools to be able to do whatever it is that I'm doing. But if it's fun, then, let's bring them out, you know? Exactly that. Yeah, before I started traveling around, you know, I had my little office space that was full of, you know, beautiful artwork and tons of crystals and all these different things. And I would have certain people ask me, ooh, what do you use that one for? What's that one a tool for? I mean, I think, I don't know, we just hang out together. You know? Yeah. My friends, you know, we just all support an energetic field together. And it's the same thing. It's like, yes, if it's fun to use, like the Orasoma bottles, the colors, they all have their spirit infused. There are messages that come with them. Or the various card decks that are out there. There's so many beautiful ones out there. If it's fun, if that adds an element of fun to your reading or your inner investigation or something, then use it. Use what's fun, but take the should out of it. Oh, I have to do this. Like, I highly recommend that everyone meditate every day in some way. But it helps. It's that tuning into the divine, however you do that. That is important. You know, it's very important. But to take the shit out of it, of, you know, well, I have to meditate this way, or I should do this, or I have to meditate for this amount, or I have to do this ritual or this form. Those things are things that have been taught. We were all taught that. I was taught many of them. And some of the particular guided things really do help. You know, they take you into a specific state of mind or a specific tuning. It's like you're tuning an instrument a certain way, is how I would talk about that. And there's nothing wrong with it, but if you have to take the should out of it and take the obligation out of it and make it, well, when do you want to meditate? How do you want to meditate? How do you want to connect with the divine? How is that fun? You know, do you need to go for a hike in the woods and hug a tree? Do you need to go, you know, put your bum on the seashore? Do you need to connect with the land, the earth? The earth is completely supporting this right now. Look at all of the diversity, all of the flavors of nature. You know, that is all spirit as well. And the issue of the work and the heaviness and all that from the last cycle is the disconnect from that.
from that everything is sacred. Everything needs to be approached with reverence, including ourselves, and especially our work, what they call work. If there isn't joy in it, don't do it. Basically. But if there is, then it's play with the lovely bottles, or play with the cards, or the, any tool, a yantra or a meditative technique or sound. I find sound really helps because it doesn't have any of those limitations. There's a new transmission that can come through from source every time you listen, if you allow that. If you don't set up your mental parameters to say, well, this works just for this one thing, and I'm going to use it for that. And that's fine. It was probably whatever that tool is was set up that way. But Spirit is infinite. She can do anything. She can come through anything, anyway, anyhow, even through your heavy work-related business. But it's not so much fun.
Yeah.
Why not lighten it up?
Yeah, the lighten up revolution. Here we go.
Yes.
Yeah. So when you're doing the essence tuning sessions with people, because people can experience the essence tuning through the program, through your website, and sign up for the multidimensional oneness, or experience a session with you, what happens?
Well, we could do that right now. We could show people what happens. You want to do that? Okay.
Yeah.
So my friend Tina here is starting a new series of fun for Joyful Entrepreneur. And she's really good at coaching this, the joy, bringing the joy out of people. So if I look right now as source, as the source that comes through me, if I look at Tina and I look at this new venture, feel the joy that's welling up from it, and the openness. And this is taking years of self-discovery, of lightening up, to be able to let this come forth. And it's still a little new, and you can feel a little bit, or I can, a little bit of it's not trepidation, it's not even hesitation, it's just a little bit of, oh, this is really unknown and new, and I'm not really sure about this. And there's a little bit right in here, just energetically in the throat area, which is the expressive chakra. It's not just our voice, but it's how the source flows through us. And it's because we believe it's there. So it's just long traditions of believing that it's there. There's a little bit of, I wouldn't call it constriction, but it's almost like atrophy. There are channels right in here that look like they're a bit atrophied. So what I'm going to do is just ask source to do whatever is needed to bring those fully online. This is because this is what I'm being shown. It's not because it's what I think, or there's no should here. It's just this is something. There we go. See, this just lighten right up. And then there needs to be a willingness, just because we haven't talked about this yet, so her body doesn't know what to do, right? It's just like connect that literally with the physical heart, with the upper and lower heart centers, and let it connect with the brain up into the midbrain, the center of the head. There you go. Yeah. Just let that beautiful golden light, that beautiful aqua light. Oh, Mahachohan showed up. And the spirit from one of the bottles for the turquoise. But all of this beautiful light that shows up. And then I can also feel, maybe some of you can as well, the ocean showing up, because it's so much an ally of yours. The water is your element. We all love all of the elements and all of the elementals, and we need them all. There's usually one that we have more of an affinity for. And this is a fire year. The fire rooster it's a fire year. But there is fire in water and water in fire. If we think about the elementals in their pure form, there we go. This is just, I'm talking, so this will integrate into your body.
Yeah.
There we go. So then letting that come through, and letting it come through at the base of the jaw, at the TMJ planes, and then letting that come all the way up through the brain. And then I'm watching Source. What she's doing is she's clearing out sort of bits of flotsam and jetsam and old scaffolding that's in the mind and in the brain, because they're not the same thing. And then so that new messages can come in through your body with all of this amazing work you do with entrepreneurs to help them to lighten me, what. Lighten me up, right? Because we all need to do it. We do. It's this, let's all be these really serious spirits. Well, there you go. So everything being dissolved. It's being dissolved, not crushed, not broken. You can feel this. It's dissolving from that light. Are all the structures about what it means to Tina to be spiritual. Because those are all mind, mental, human-driven definitions. Now there's that inner knowing, which is what you cultivate for your clients, which is different, right? It's letting that come in and completely take over and erase. And there you go, and dissolve all those definitions. You can feel they're a little bit all in here, a little bit in your ears.
Yeah.
So we have ear filters. We all have ear filters and perception filters around our third eye that do just that. They filter our perceptions. We see through them. And we perceive in a certain way. Now, we've designed those parameters to come in and have an experience in a lifetime. So otherwise, we'd all just be undifferentiated light. None of it would matter. So we design parameters and we put filters in place. Filters of themselves are not bad, but there's some filters there that are obsolete. That from the ears, from the physical eyes, the brain, the third eye, and then they've affected your expression. So we want to take all those filters out of your expression. So what are you feeling right now?
Yeah.
Throat chakra, yeah.
It's like there's a frog that's been in there that wants to come out,
Well, and frog medicine is cleansing, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was that's so beautiful. I mean, I have this amazingly stunning photo that I took a few years ago of Maha Chohan at the beach, and it's like the master of the Echo's Ray, and all about really supporting, communicating from the heart and allowing your message to be received by others. So it's really great for anyone who is for authors, for speakers, for anybody who's wanting to express their message and let it be received. Yeah, calling on Maha Chohan is amazing. And as you were talking about that this one was showing up, and feeling the ally with the ocean, I just I felt, emotions rise up.
Yeah.
It's just so much love. And today, I was by the ocean, and it was just one of those, this color water days.
Yes.
And I'm like, I am living in paradise. And my brother is here at the moment from Japan, and we were talking about, wow, how hard it was to leave Holland and all my best friends over there. And yet how glad I was that I had made the move to be here, because being is such a nurturing place. It's like, wow, I feel like I have the environment really supporting me here.
Yes. Yes, you were moving into that time, and you worked with me through all of the embodying fluidity sessions, everything where we're moving into the flow of what nurtures, nourishes, acknowledges, appreciates, supports, and cherishes the light, the love, the infinite field that we are, and how that expresses into the world and wants to. This is like, there's a spiritual truth which remains true regardless of cycle. This is what you yearn for, yearns for you. And so this is that letting that sublimated yearning, which so many of us have done that. So many of us learned to shut down certain things because this world wouldn't support it. And in its old form, it wouldn't. It's a war world, the warrior cycle. You come here to hone your warrior skills. That can still be true in certain segments, certain realities on this world. But what's really coming through is the garden, the ocean, the flowering of life, and being able to create from that place. Like Baby Groot in Guardians of the Galaxy, right? It seems really flaky and weird, but it cracks me up every time I see it, because it's like, just this little, here's this big warrior thing, but it's like, I'm going to be in joy, and I'm going to learn how to produce light, and I'm here to do that. And some of us are here because we know how to do that. You're one of those. And we can be that light or that lantern, or just a little signpost that says, whoa, not that path, go down this one. Or these little circuits that help to really, you could say, fulfill our purpose. That's the words that humans use, but really to be the light that we are, to be the love that expresses through us. That's what we're here to do, each of us in our own way. And especially now that needs to move into the realm of what's been called business, which is energy exchange. The foundation of it is energy exchange, exchange for services. And what service could be better than information, which is light? Light is the information quotient of love. So, bringing that through. Yeah. And then see, there was a perfect example of the spirit, the bottle showed up to say, oh, hi, I want to play. That's when you do that. Like, I'll be in nature in a tree, or when I had all the crystals, it's like one will say, I want to play today. So I'll just bring it over. We'll hang out together. We'll play. It's not like I'm going to do this ritual and use it this way. And I'm not saying that's not valid. These are things people have learned. It's arcane wisdom that's been passed down. But there's much to be said for simply hanging out with it and saying, so what should we do today? How shall the energy move through us today? And let's find out. Let's see how good it could be.
Mm-hmm. So that's interesting, because then that feels like there is like a tweaking going on, that in the past, many of the spiritual traditions required a real, I suppose it would be discipline.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I feel like that is it still requires that commitment, that dedication, there's a different feeling to that energy. And maybe if that's been such a habit of, like, if you're not disciplined, then people are afraid, if you're just going to choose joy, then you're not going to get anything done. You're not going to, or whatever stories are running. So yeah.
Well, egoic dissolution, which is when we dissolve the ego, it's sooner or later. If you're going to be the flow, if you're going to be the light, you have to dismantle your ego. Anyone who tells you anything different hasn't done it. You have to dismantle the ego. And to do that requires dedication, determination. And the next thing that everyone wants me to say is hard work. I can say that it did take that for me, but that was a different cycle. Now I would look at it as I actually had a great deal of joy from going through the deep, what I would call the deep excavations that allow all those foundations, those egoic foundations, to crumble. So with what you were just saying, Tina, I would say, let's look for a minute together at your definition, just what's stored in your bodies about what determination and dedication mean. What do those mean? Because the phrase that wanted to be said was, they mean hard work. Well, no, if you want to learn to play an instrument, you can't just think about it. It's a whole other dimensional thing. It's like the hands, the voice, there's a training that is required for gaining facility at this, for gaining mastery at this. It's true for anything, but is it hard work? If you really, really, really want to learn to play the guitar, is it hard work no matter how many blisters you get on your left hand at first? If you really, really want to learn a certain dance, is it hard work no matter how sore you might be the next day? These things, it's like losing the definition. So for you, what came up with determination and dedication? What did it bring up in your body? What did your body feel?
Yes, there's lots of rules and restriction.
Right. So what if we could say to your body, sweet Tina's body, let's let Source come in and gently dissolve, quickly and instantly, but gently, not brutally, those definitions, and replace them with whatever truth the body can handle at this moment. Not subjective truth, but real truth. And no human knows what that is, or no pretend human, because we're not. But let that come through and dissolve those structures, those templates, the shelves, the volumes, here's what that means. Shift all that meaning, take the content, then take the container, and let Source work with the body to say, we're giving you the instruction to let it go, and more importantly, especially permission to let those there. See what your body did? You said, we're giving you permission to let all those rules and restrictions go, and to let something new, something more fun flow through. Yeah. So what did that do?
Yeah, it's like at the back of my heart center, and at the lower end, it felt like a
mm-hmm. It got released. So there's something holding you there. And we create these patterns, sometimes even the devices, to hold us to the path. To stay on the path. We create these things. to keep us moving forward, not to backslide, to stay on the path, to stay determined. And in that last cycle, we needed those things. We needed those coping mechanisms. We needed those tools. There are different tools that we needed now. And so it's like changing out the valve for something that will work. There you go. Your body just unraveled that last little bit of that. Yeah. So, joy explosion.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. It's a whole shift from these are the things I want to clear, which was all the last cycle. It was about everything. Everything was about that. And you still may have that as something that, you know, I want to clear my ego. Here's the thing that's up right now and problematic, and I want to clear that. Nothing wrong with that. But the focus needs to shift from that. That still needs the dissolution work or play or, you know, the deep stuff. You need to be doing this stuff. But but the focus needs to be on how this flow from the heart moves through me, because the love will always move out the fear. Love and fear cannot live in the same vibrational space. Fear contracts and attracts. It will pull to you what you fear. Mm-hmm. And the love moves through and dissolves that and says, no, that restriction didn't need to be there. Doesn't mean you have to hang out with the thing you fear. There's no rule that says that. Just let it move out there. Yeah. Cool.
Awesome. So, yeah, to support the essence tuning,
mm-hmm.
would you recommend the essence tuning tool?
She's lost the ability to speak. That happens. Well, for essence tuning or for the counseling that you do for becoming a joyful entrepreneur, just to use the moniker, within the play that comes through me, the transmissions that come through me, there are one-on-ones. There's the Following Your Light Streams program. It's a monthly mentoring program where there's a gathering, there are notes, and people can email me, not every day, but people can email me with questions. You'd be surprised. As to how to shift things, how to tune things. And then there is a program that was done last year, and it's in self-study form, which is Living as Multidimensional Oneness. And these are visual images for meditation or gazing, along with sound files. And each one is specific to tuning to certain frequencies. So each one of those, it's a specific progression into opening up into the source that you are. And I think a lot of people found that very helpful as well. So there are various methods, and there are new things coming all the time. The resonators, you have the abundance resonator. It's an image and a sound file that you meditate with, and it is keyed to have the frequencies of opening up your circuitry to abundance. You can use it however you'd like to, use them separately. They're meant to be used together, but the point is use it. And then also allowing something new to come through it. What are your old definitions of abundance for that one in particular? Letting source change that and show you what's possible, instead of that sort of default that we all got really weary and exhausted toward the end of the old cycle, and not everyone's over that yet. And I mean, my body certainly isn't. So giving it that nurturing and support that says, here's this essence, this flow that's really needed. And even if in your three-piece business suit in your office you don't want to admit to that, your heart needs it. And so taking a private moment to let that come through, and then speaking that heart truth in business language, learning to do this in a whole new way, because business language is changing as well. And the energy exchange is the way the planet works. That's always going to happen. We call it money right now, but it's essentially energy exchange. So if you want to change the foundation of something, you shift the energy, and this is what it's shifting into. So yeah, I have those programs, and you have the sessions that you do for people, into really aligning them with what lights them up, that that joyful expression in the world, not going sitting in a cave somewhere, you know. Sometimes the lovely bottles come in to help, sometimes nature elements come in to help. And you see how that works. It's like, it's individual for each of us. You know that, you've experienced it. I'm sure your clients have, where something will come in and I won't know what that is. And the client says, oh yeah, that's my spirit guide, or oh yeah, that's an ally, or oh yeah, I do Qigong or something. I didn't know that, but Source knows. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think what's just really beautiful to see too, a good reminder. I love reminders. Retraining my mind.
Retrain the mind, yes.
Yeah, retrain the mind. And looking at the other day, I was walking and I thought, oh, presence, PR for essence, presence.
PR for essence. That's great. Yes. Which it is. When you walk as presidents, you are a walking role model, you know, for essence. Yeah, there's a little class I'm doing at the beginning of next month, sort of new roles for the new cycle, and it's about that. It's like being present and how you are present, and yeah, PR for essence. It's great.
Yeah, and as I was listening to that, I thought, wow, it's very interesting that you're saying, indeed, you know, like the language for business, being able to fully express that joyful essence. Yeah, one of the gifts I have is being able to reconnect people with their joy and to find ways to express that in their business. And it's one of those things, you know, I know you told me years ago. I was like, oh, what's she talking about? How do I do that? You know?
Exactly. I get that a lot. And the thing is, there's no pat answer. Everyone wants a rule or a formula. That was the old cycle. Now there are underlying flows, but rules and formulas, well, this is the way that's always going to work. And that doesn't exist right now. It's all very unscripted. So get over it. It's, you know, and move into that, you know, instead of asking the question, how do I do that? You let go, you surrender, you allow, you receive. And these are foreign concepts in the so-called practical world. But this is, you know, taking practical steps with mystical feet. It's what's needed now, is to bring that essence through. And there isn't a really successful entrepreneur on the planet who does not do this. They might call it a gut feeling or a hunch or, you know, the zone or whatever they call it, but there is not anyone who's successful in this way, in this free-flowing way, who isn't tapped into that. They just might call it something different. And that's fine. You know, language is important and not, depends on the situation.
Yeah, and I also think it's really fun to see how more and more people are, well, I don't know whether to say it's not fun while they're in it, but it's like things are not working, right? And suddenly they find themselves, oh, they're in a job, but they've been really wanting to have their own business or do something else. And all of a sudden, boom, the job disappears and they're kind of, oh, I was just thinking I wanted to do this. Now what? But as that's happening, as I'm seeing people just realizing, wow, it's like the rug is pulled out and they're actually realizing, oh my gosh, I'm floating. This is awesome. And
yes,
why did I wait this long? That sort of feeling always afterwards, you know? And so seeing more and more people coming up with really awesome ways of expressing their essence and coming up with ways to collaborate that really allow everyone to shine, and realizing that as we're like beautiful instruments, we're having these beautiful symphonies coming together and creating amazing things.
Yeah, it's a whole, we call it a new cycle, a new paradigm, whatever you want to call it. You know, egos cooperate, presence collaborates. So that's another definition, that's the word, definition that can go as well as what you think collaboration means. Well, it means we all do this and we have an agenda. And, you know, like from The Godfather, our boats must sail in the right direction. Wrong, sort of the way I think about it. But, you know, that flavor, right? It's yes, essentially, but essence collaborates, which means that there are these unique flows. Think about the currents within an ocean. Do they always go in exactly the same direction? No, they each have their unique flows and their unique, you know, way of moving, but it's all the sea, it's all the wave. And we're all learning. You know, the answer to the how question is we are learning by doing. We are learning by being the presence. We are learning by experience. That we are learning by experience, not by someone telling us how. That will no longer work. It's Here's the experience of it. So, what comes through me is the experience of essence tuning. What comes through you is the experience of joyful entrepreneurship. That you've done the training. I think that's our new word for instead of hard work. You've done the training. Training is training. It just is. But, but it can be fun. I mean, all those years that I trained martial arts, I mean, that's difficult. That's challenging. I loved it. It wasn't, I didn't think it was work. I didn't think I was suffering, I mean, why make that a carrot on a stick? I loved it. It was joy, So, and it was training, right? It's like we're learning an instrument or learning a new skill. So we're all learning new skills at the same time, mentally learning new skills at the same time. We're allowing these flows of our gifts, talents, skills, and abilities to come through us in the ways that perhaps maybe they were always meant to. And we just didn't have the tools or the mental framing or the words, or we didn't know the how. But the truth is, Source has the how. We follow that light, say, oh, this would be really fun, or oh, cool to express this, or oh, let's get this set up and see what happens. And really surrender the how to Source, and then take the practical steps, Mr. Cookie.
Yeah, I was sitting the other day and I thought, thinking, oh my gosh, 3.5 years or so ago is when Money and Miracles came to the world. And now that this new book title has emerged, I was thinking, oh yeah, it'd be really cool. I'm coming up with the themes, like the chapters that we encounter, such as letting go of the control freak, because that's
yeah.
And the experience along the way. So in hearing the word surrender I know for many years, I remember years ago, I think it was in the Embodied Fluidity calls or something, you were talking about surrender, and it's like I felt every part of my body. I was seeing white flags, battlefields on my back, I'm going, memories. I'm like,
yes, everyone has. And the initial response to surrender, especially in the last cycle, is hell no. Mine was decades ago was, hell no, never, I will never surrender. But because I had a bad definition of what that meant. You're not surrendering to anything outside of yourself. Maybe you need to use a different word, and that's fine. But it's letting the Source, the infinite that you are, take over. You surrender into that. It's not just anything outside of you. It's letting that authenticity, that essence take over. That's what the joyful entrepreneurship is about. It's what essence tuning is about. It's letting that take over. And you could also say, like, your angelic essence, your divine essence knows what to do. Let it. Don't stop editing. We all edit.
Yeah.
Well, I can't say that. Well, maybe that was what the other person needed said. I had that experience over and over and over. The radio show I used to do, the other things. I've had so many of those things happen where something would come out from Source, and my editor would say, "Oh no," and then it turned out that was exactly what that person needed. So I had to learn too. My body had to learn to stop that, to let Source rip through and trust that what is needed is going to happen. Yeah. And not just for the other person's benefit. There's this whole serving self, serving others. That's a dualistic principle. It's a polarity. And yes, we have polarity structures on this world, but duality needs to dissolve into unity. And within unity, there is no either or. So as the Source comes through you, it benefits you first, and then benefits everyone it flows through to in the way that they need it. It's not an either or. I get helped or you get helped. Or maybe we get helped if we both sacrifice. That's over. It does not need to be any longer unless you perpetuate it. I guess that's a fun game if you still want to play it.
So one of the things that's kind of fun with playing with the colors, I realized, wow, I used to just look at somebody's name and also looking at the name of the business. And if you take a look at the name of the business and then the birth date of the business, which I usually look at the date that the domain was registered. That's an easy one as that's talking about making it into the world, And it's so fun realizing, wow, when you look at what the deeper purpose or the soul message of the business is, and you start seeing that in the colors and the messages that are there. Oh, wow. So I looked for mine the other day and realized, oh my gosh, Joyful Soul Business is all about harvesting and really experiencing joy. And then the funny thing for letting my name go out there, it's in the colors, it's called the Egyptian bottle, turning the tide. So really experiencing the freedom and the joy of transformation. I'm like, wow, it's kind of
Yeah, yeah. Source will use anything to give us the information we need, and so why not do something fun? There's one of the little bottles that's sort of been pinging and hopping up and down ever since we started. So like behind your right shoulder, it's the blue on top and it's either gold or salmon on the bottom. That one.
Oh, that's interesting. And this one is called Breath of Love. And it's beautiful. Turquoise on the top and the lower part is magenta.
That's so. It looks gold from here, so it's funny. Yeah. It's just that one was sort of hopping up and down, going, "Me, I want to play."
Yeah, but that's so beautiful because this is really literally about allowing the breath of love, really the divine love, to be expressed through the heart and to let that be communicated. And so beautiful, isn't it? The message is everything is beautiful in its own way.
Yes. And everyone and every message, I know, but every message is beautiful in its own way and has its own audience. And you don't need someone else's audience. You need your own. You need the audience that's going to hear the source that comes through you.
Yeah. And that's so interesting. It is about finding that, well, it's like clear. I think one of the biggest things that I noticed was holding me back and just was fear of persecution and the memories of that.
Absolutely. Yes. There's precedent on this world for the light bearers to be persecuted, not treated very well. And the rising tide that, the bottles were speaking to is that presence, that the PR for essence is that if everyone is learning, because everyone is, regardless of how you might perceive them, to express the essence that's within them, then concepts like competition, other than just for fun, are going to go away. Not right away. It's going to take some time, but they're going to go away. Concepts of having that struggle or that fear. Like if I put myself out there, fill in the blank, fear of consequences. Where you and I talked years ago about the what if is always fear of consequences. That's the limitation that's underneath that statement. And so giving that to source, to say, I don't know what to do with this anymore. This is real humility. It's like, I don't know what to do with this anymore. I'm going to crush it. I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to dissolve this. I used to think those things decades ago. I did. I was such an idiot. But it's like, no, it's just give it to source and say, I don't know what to do with this anymore. Just shift it. Let however it needs to shift, like let it move. And then some people get really angry when it doesn't shift right away. And the truth is it does. That is your mind and your patterns that still want to be in control, hanging on and lying to you, saying it hasn't changed. They say, well, my physical circumstances hasn't changed. Well, you might have to take some action steps. It's a training ground. It's a training world, practical steps. But following on that flow, that under the trust, not the assumption, but the trust that this has just shifted because source, I gave it to source. It has shifted. How good could this get? Where does this go? And watch what happens.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, really beautiful. And I think also really good to know that I think one of the other traps, I think this is part of that perfectionist program running, that will say, if you've done the clearing, then you should be done with it and you shouldn't have to keep doing it. How often we've heard that. And yeah, it's like, well, so you brush every day, you have a shower every day. So this needs to be
exactly. I mean, one hopes one showers every day or bathes daily or like meditates daily, but it's losing the should. It's just, raising your vibration requires certain ways of being and certain ways of living. It just does. There's no should about that. but yeah, I know. If I had a small coin for every time someone has said to me, well, if you're so enlightened, then why do you have to live? We'd all be wealthy. But it's like, it's ongoing. Consciousness is ever expanding. Love is infinite. The expression of it is infinite. There's always, one could look at it this way, always more to clear. I would say always more expansion, which needs to move the barriers and the dams and the dikes and the things the structures we've built up out of the way. And it will do that on its own, which is infinitely more painful than if we assist by going with the flow,
Yeah, it was awesome. At the beginning of the year, I always choose a word for the year, and this year it was picked a theme as well. So it's all right. So my word for the year is nourish, and it was really just that everything, to really let my body be nourished, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, all the levels, and that every experience I have is nourishing, and that the interactions are nourishing for everyone involved. And then the theme being joyful expansion, and I've been really feeling it because it's been fun. I've had like some pretty big expansions happening with business, and then going into that space and then going, shit. This
is pretty big. What do I do with this? And that's it. That's the mind wanting to control, and even in a subtle, benign way, and saying, wait. What do I fill this with? You let source fill it.
I know.
And you facilitate. You're the agent on the ground, so to speak, but you let source come through. Yeah, everybody does that. It's like, what now is one of the big questions, or what do I do with this? But you look at the framing of the question. It's always from the me perspective, which is small, instead of from the expanded perspective, which is, whoa, what could source do with this through me? And let's find out. And there could be significant training and action steps, but they'll be fun.
Yeah.
More fun. Some of it, is it difficult? Is it challenging? Some of it, sure.
Yeah.
Training is like that.
Yeah. So that's why I said about joyful expansion. That's a good reminder,
Yes. Yes, not, oh, holy poo on toast, I'm being blown in 1,000 billion splinters of dimensions. Yes, that happens. But, it's like, whoa, that's kind of fun. And let's see how it all fall back together. Because what's really happening is things are all coming back together in a very different way. Was Humpty the same when he got put back together? Well, no, clearly, that's not possible. But what if instead of trying to put all the eggshell pieces or bits of glass or whatever it is, all the fragments back together, what if you let source come through and create a new wholeness? How good could that be? We're going to find out.
Beautiful. Yeah. And so I'm so looking forward to seeing all the things that will be emerging over the coming year. And and just, the more, my thought is that, the more people are really connected with their joy and they express that, and especially, I think with entrepreneurs have a big impact in the world, that so many people they can reach and share and interact with, that it's like massive joy ripples. And the more people are experiencing joy, wow, that raises the whole experience for everyone around them. Yeah, and so that's why I'm excited to see more people allow that, and just that there are so many tools and resources available to assist with that. And I'm actually enjoying the living as a multidimensional oneness at the moment.
Yeah.
And the second one is like, ooh, juicy, yummy. Yeah. So, I would say, if you'd like to have some tools, then go check out chaliceofwisdom.com and have a look at the beautiful essence tuning, the gatherings, the attunements, beautiful. Are you taking private sessions with people if they haven't gone through any of the programs?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah. I let source decide. I mean, they're people who are part of the Following Your Light Streams program, which people can join anytime, leave anytime. It's not a set curriculum. It's just a monthly mentoring. Have a certain option for one-on-ones, but yes, I do the one-on-ones for anyone who chooses to sign up. It's all about moving energy. It's all about shifting circuitry and seeing, what that opens up.
And I know, I was saying, gosh, it's been almost 9 years since our paths first crossed here, and having had so many beautiful experiences, I would not be where I am today if it hadn't been for your support and that deep, deep, deep getting to the core of the stuff and just, this is like, yeah. I'm so glad we made a divine appointment to meet up, and yeah, really good.
Yeah. That's sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, so go check that out, and if anyone's interested in experiencing what I'm doing, well, then reach out. You'll find information below.
Absolutely. Yeah, the flashes of insight, and even for things like marketing and branding and domain inception and those things, Tina is brilliant at this.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, go forth and let joy be your guide to a life and a business that are worth waking up for. And if you need, so as we said at the start, sometimes you just got to give yourself permission to lighten the F up so you can seriously enjoy your life and business. So go for it. And until we meet again, many joyful blessings.